I might be live. I even ran an update on my computer and it's still terribly slow. I'm frozen. I apologize. I need to focus more on computer maintenance, apparently. I don't know if I'm live. I'm live. Thank you. My computer, even if I there's the okay. So here we are. Craig, what's up? Herman, good morning. Yes, so I want to dive right into the hat. So I wore this on purpose this morning because it was my hair's a mess. Haven't had a haircut in a while. I need to shave, so put the hat on. What's up, Dan? Good morning. So I want to review yesterday's Rockford Card Show. I did get a pretty cool mail day. I did tweet that out yesterday when I got home. I want to talk about the hat. So I got this hat at the National. I'm not a grader. I have never submitted a card to get graded. That will soon change. But if I did, and when I do, it's going to be slabs the most. I don't think. What's up, Zach? I don't think I have one near me. But they're, they call them tuxedos. They're very classic. They're a little elegant. They're, the black and white tuxedo, hence the name. They've been around a long time. So I mean, it's basically the big three that have been along in the grading scene: PSA, Beckett, SGC. And they're like synonymous with vintage and pre-war, which is what I'm going to be submitting. And I'll show you one of my mail days that I will be sending in to SGC. So I'm a big SGC fan. I don't know if I talked about this on one of my previous episodes reviewing the National, but one of the booths that I visited, and I think I did talk about this because it was the Mickey Mantle Bazooka Gum full box that he was selling for like $75,000, but he would take the first offer over $50,000, and he had two buyers. So I was at his booth. We were talking. He had a couple Cubs on the box. I was interested in a Ken Hubbs box. Fortunately, it was a very small fraction of the Mickey Mantle asking price, but it was raw. He had the Mickey Mantle. It was PSA, and it's like I would really like this slabbed, but I would like it slabbed with SGC. So I actually went to the SGC booth. I talked to a couple of their reps. I'm not sure. I got their cards, but I can't remember their titles. I think they were just in sales maybe. They didn't know like the grading process, but they did tell me to reach out via email. I ended up not buying that piece, that Bazooka gum box, so it's kind of a moot point now. But I was interested in, okay, would you slap something like this? And they didn't think they had slabs large enough for this piece. They directed me to the contact person to email with the specs of the card to see if they actually have slabs. They were very helpful. I had a great time at the booth. We had a good conversation, and they gave me a hat. And so I wore the hat around. I like sporting the hobby. So I wore my Flipper Life t-shirt. I figured that was appropriate for a card show in the style of Miller High Life. Lucktown Threads made that. They have some great hobby shirts. Check them out, Lucktown Threads. And my SGC hat. And what I like about this is that when you're wearing this stuff, it brings about conversation. If you're just wearing a Cubs shirt or a Bears shirt or whatever, it's just like, it's kind of like, oh, hey, the Bears are playing today. I wonder how Justin Fields is going to look. It's just kind of like, the weather's nice. It's just basic conversation, small talk. But SGC brought about a lot of conversation at the card show yesterday. And that's why I wear the cardometer, because if I'm walking around the card show, nobody knows who I am. But if I'm wearing the cardometer, they might recognize the project. So that's why I do that. That's why I wanted to wear the hat. Had a lot of great conversations. People that had never graded before had either submitted recently with SGC, were very happy with the price and turnaround time. And so it was good. So kudos to SGC, maybe coming up in the in the rankings. I think SGC slabs are really undervalued. I showed off the SGC basketball rookie slabs that I picked up, like $12 a piece. Yeah, they're like kind of they're the third tier rookies. But if any of them comes up, and I think there's going to be a rise in SGC slabs, I just think they're super undervalued in comparison to PSA. Where will they ever take over PSA? Very unlikely. But is there room to grow for the value in those slabs? Absolutely. And I think there's tremendous growth potential for SGC slabs. So that's my no, I did not tell SGC that I would talk them up if they gave me a hat. They just gave me the hat because they're good people. So Dan, I missed so Dan's going to be on Chasing the Graph podcast tonight, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. I will try to hit that. If I don't watch it live, I will definitely watch the recording. Chasing the Graph podcast, 7:30 Central. Herman's headed to see the new grandbaby. Congratulations, Herman. With another one on the way today. Wow, a 2 grandbaby weekend. Congrats. That is awesome. Dan says, my friend emailed me this morning and told me our PSA order, which logged September of 2020, finally popped 11 months later. Wow. That's very cool. So SGC, before I get into the card show, I'll show off the mail day since I'm talking SGC. And this is another card that I'm going to be submitting with my order. I've always loved the old Cracker Jack cards from 1914 and 1915, and they can get pretty pricey. I bought like 3 Joe Tinker cards at the National. I have a T206 already, and I found this on eBay. I sent an offer, probably, what was my offer? 60%, 50 to 60%, 55 or 60% of the list price. And they accepted right away. So that was cool. So it's a Joe Tinker. Now, I will say, is the camera gonna focus? Doesn't look like it. So this is a Joe Tinker, 1914 Cracker Jack. Now, this is not a Cubs card. No, it's a Chicago Federal League card. So Joe Tinker, his last 2 seasons, was a player manager for Chicago's Federal League team. But what's significant about this card, I'll show you the back. What's significant about this card is it's from 1914, Chicago Federal League. Weigman Park, now we know it as Wrigley Field, was built and was the home field for the Chicago Federal League team. That's what they called it, home first, before the Cubs. The Cubs would move in after the Federal League disbanded, and the Cubs moved into Wrigley Field in 1917, but it was the very first home to the Chicago Federal League team. So that's why this is significant. I love it. It's going to look pretty in a SGC tuxedo. Joe Tinker, 1914 Cracker Jack. So there are, I think, a couple others. I'll have to look at the checklist, but the old Cracker Jacks don't come along on eBay very often. I saw that. I put in a low offer and it was accepted, so I was happy with that. So I've kind of started a Joe Tinker PC. Dan said, "Oh, DR, what's up, DR? Just signed in. Love the SGC White Sox hat. Hey, not a White Sox hat. Out of sight, out of mind. I think it had some Hideki Matsui Japanese rookies and an Ichiro Takara rookie and maybe some Lee Sung Yup, who my PC. Very cool. So yeah, so I'm happy with that purchase. There are some other pre-war Cubs that I'm looking at. I'm always looking for a Cap Anson. They're out of my price range. I think I'm hoping one will come on the market at some point that slides into my my price range. But right now they're just too expensive. So that was my mail day yesterday. So yesterday I was at the Rockford Card Show, Rockford, Illinois. I had done this show in, I think, May or June. Wasn't it called Cubs Park or before it became? Yes, it was Weigman Park. Weigman Park was the original name, and then it turned into Wrigley Field. I can't remember when it changed to Wrigley, maybe in the 20s. I can't remember, but Weigman Park was the original name of Wrigley. So I did the show in May or June in Rockford. It was at a different location. It was actually in Loves Park originally. So yesterday was their first show in this new venue, which is in Rockford at the Rock Church. It's in a church gymnasium, which is really cool. I liked the setting of the old show. As far as, for me, it was on the north side of Rockford, so it was probably 15 minutes quicker for me to get there. And it was easy access. This one's, you have to kind of drive through on the interstate through Rockford, and then it's on the south end. But for the actual, interior and the setup, I really like the gymnasium. It's wide open. It's actually really bright. Most gymnasiums are kind of dark. This is a very bright gymnasium, not too bright, but just the perfect amount of lighting. I always love, our show here in Madison's on the second floor in a hotel. So it's kind of, the ease of access is not, it's, it is what it is. It's a beautiful venue. But it's just, you have to walk in, you have to walk upstairs or take the elevator. So I like the first floor, especially I can just wheel in my monster boxes, my bargain boxes. By the way, I have basically an outdoor wagon that I use for basically just hauling bags of soil or whatever I'm using in the garden. It works perfectly for the monster boxes. The 4-row boxes fit perfectly. I can set 2 of them in and I can stack them up 3 high. So I can get 6 at a time going in and out. So I used that for the first time for a card show yesterday. Parking lot's right there. So there's not awkward parking where you have to walk around a building. Parking lot is right there next to the front door. You can even, pull up to unload. So, everything about, just the setting of it is perfect. Interior, like I said, nice and bright, wide open. Obviously, it's a gymnasium. I like the way it was set up, where basically all of the tables were kind of on the outside. So the middle area, big rectangle in the middle, where the vendors are. And obviously that setup can change if more vendors are there. So I liked that part where, we had a lot of room, but there was also a lot of room for, I had chairs, and I didn't have a lot of diggers for my bargain boxes. And I'll get to this in a moment, but there was still plenty of room in the outside walking lanes, plenty of room, which is another, a big positive for card shows. And to top it off, I think the coolest part of the church gym, there's a stage, and on the stage they have, your recreational, your basement games. There's a foosball table. There was an air hockey table. There was I think there was a ping pong table. So in the future, they didn't really have much time to utilize that space. But it sounds like in the future they're planning on maybe having like a kind of a breakers pavilion. Like one breaker would be up there doing like a live break. There's a projection screen back there, So during the fall, they can have college football going. And basically it's, you can see, it's a gym. And if you've ever been in a gym with a stage, most small high schools have those. Um, you can see it from all areas of the interior gymnasium. So I really love the spot. It's awesome. The next show is September 11th, which I will not be able to attend. Have a party, an office party for my wife's office, so we'll not be able to make that show. But I'm looking forward to doing the October show. So really liked it. The downside. Zach says, I checked trading card database. That cat who tossed the no has very few cards. Cool story. That is a great story. I'll swing back to that after I talk about the card show. So the downside yesterday, it was in actually it was in Northern Illinois. In Rockford, Illinois, it was like the perfect weather day. Like very few clouds in the sky, beautiful blue skies, sunshine, 80 degrees, like zero humidity. It was the perfect weather day. And it's a Saturday in August. People are probably wrapping up. School's going to be starting here in the next couple of weeks, if not this week. So people are finishing up, getting their vacations out of the way as we approach the school year. There were other shows. There was a big show in Shearerville, Indiana, which sucks in a lot of the Chicago and the suburbs people. It's a big show. There was actually another show. There was a mall show in Rockford. So in the same city, there's another show. And I was told that took away about 5-10 vendors. Now, I think mall shows from a vendor standpoint stink. I would never set up at a mall show. So this particular mall show, I think you have to set up like from open to close of the mall hours. That's a long time. Not only that, they're usually like 3-day shows, and I'm not going to commit 3 days to a mall card show. That's a lot of time. I would never set up at a mall card show, but that's just me. A lot of people do. That's okay. So that probably took some traffic away as well. So the traffic at the show yesterday was like minimal. It was pretty low turnout. In fact, I looked at my phone. I thought it was still like 8:30 before the show, technically started, and it was like 10:05, and I'm like, whoa, this is a slow start. Hopefully it picks up. And I did notice at the previous show I did in Rockford, it was a late arriving crowd, but it was also on a Sunday, which you kind of have that after church rush. I worked at a grocery store in a small town, an IGA in a small town. And we had people trickle in on Sunday mornings, getting their milk, their orange juice, their Sunday breakfast stuff. And then all of a sudden at like 10 o'clock after the 9 o'clock service, it was like a rush, and for 15 minutes. And then there was a 10 o'clock service. And then at 11 o'clock, there was a big rush. And so I think that was maybe the last show that I did was on a Sunday. So I think we had that after church Sunday rush. Plus, for me, like here it is, 8:15. This is actually earlier than normal for me on a Sunday, but I'm kind of I'll sleep in on Sunday mornings. I'll just kind of put my hoodie on, lounge around, and then I'll, start to tackle the day at noon on a Sunday. Whereas Saturday, I'm up and at 'em early. And, by noon, I've got half of my chores or my errands run for the day. So I'm a productive Saturday person. I'm a very lazy Sunday person. So Herman says, I feel like quarter boxes would do great at a mall show. That's a good point. I'll disagree, because I think in a mall show, I think what mall shows are good for are bigger. And when I say bigger, I mean like cheap wax boxes. That's kind of what I think of at a mall show. Like if you can get an 88 Tops box for $10. I just don't think at a mall show you're going to have the traffic for people that are going to sit there for 3 hours, because bargain boxes typically attract people that want to sit down and dig through boxes like me. Um, if I'm at a mall show, I don't think I would be attracted to a bargain box. I think mall shows are more transient, where you're gonna have mom and Billy going in to get school clothes. It's here. It was August 14th. School shopping. There's probably that was probably really good uh, scheduling on their part, because I don't know when the schools begin in that area, but I would assume it's, I grew up, a little south of there, and we always started this up like the Wednesday of this upcoming week would be our first day of school. We started early, like the Wednesday of the third week of August. So I bet there was a lot of traffic for people school shopping for clothes, for fresh threads for the new school year. So mom and Billy are going to Baby Gap or wherever you get kids clothes, and Zach, you can probably help me. Well, Herman, you can help me. Where do kids go shopping? Where do you take your kids to get clothes? Um, so they're in the mall getting their fresh threads for school, and oh hey, there's a card show. I'm a Rockford's, Cubs and White Sox. Oh, hey, there's a Cub, well, there's nobody left on the team, but there's a Chris Bryant card. Oh, it's only $1. We'll get it for Billy. Or, oh, cool, a whole box of cards I can open for only $10. So I think that's kind of what the mall shows attract, are just kind of like the I don't think this is really a term in baseball cards, but the tchotchkes, just like the random trinkets, like a cheap hobby box, or superstar players of the local team. That's how I associate mall shows. And I could be wrong. That's my thought process. Um, so our traffic was really slow yesterday, but so here's why I'm not upset. So when I went to the Schaumburg show last month, right before 2 weeks before the National, my goal in July was to sell, because I wanted to build that bankroll for the National so I could just spend at the National. So I was very upset because I broke even on my tables, not including I had to wake up at 4:30 a.m. on a Sunday. I had to drive 2 hours. I had to pay tolls. I didn't have to spring for the Lou Malnati's pizza, but I did. So I lost money on the venture. And that was, it's like I could have stayed home and sat in my basement listing cards on eBay and made, a lot more money than what I lost. Strategy was different this time. Yesterday's strategy was whatever I sell, I'm going to spend. I'm a buyer. So I was more at the show as a buyer yesterday, because I've been saying it this week. I'm really aiming to bulk up the eBay store. I've taken pictures, and I talked about my listing strategy and how I'm handling the picture taking and the upload process. I have about 200 pictures already uploaded. Now I just need to type in the information into File Exchange spreadsheet, which is actually, I'm a fast typer, so that's going to take no time at all. And I'll have 200. I hope to do that tonight. I do have yard work to get to today. So maybe tonight I can get those 200 uploaded, listed. So I was a buyer. I'm looking for bulk buys. I'm digging through bargain boxes. So in a busy show, I really don't have time to work the floor as a buyer. But if so it's a double-edged sword. If it's busy, I'm making a lot of sales, but I'm not having any time to spend that money to buy. But if it's slow, I have time to buy, but I'm not making any money. So that's where I was at yesterday. It was very slow. Had the opportunity to walk around. I picked up $15 cards out of a dollar bin. I listed a bunch of those. There was a Trey Turner First Chrome. Some of the recent sales are like $10-$12. Got it for $1. There was a 69 tops Gaylord Perry, a 76 tops Tom Seaver. There was an Aqua Refractor Albert Abreu. And so these are like $3, $4, $5 cards if they sell on eBay. But it's like, you put in $1, you make $3 or $4, and you keep doing that. You keep building and rolling on that. That's where I'm at. Small margins in volume. That's the goal. That's my approach. to my eBay store and selling on eBay. So I had a lot of time to dig through. I pulled out some quarter cards out of the same box. Again, small margins, sell them for $2-3. Listed a bunch of those. The first couple of buys were Prism basketball rookies. I'm looking for, I think basketball is super undervalued right now. I think there's going to be another spike for two reasons. I think it's super low just because it's the off season. So I think now we have summer league, so we're starting to see some basketball prices rise from the ashes, especially on guys that are playing in the summer league. The superstars aren't there, but you've got some of these second tier rookies from the last couple of years that are starting to, have some good games. Obi Toppin is a guy that I really like. Who else? Aaron Nesmith from the Celtics has had some good games. Peyton Pritchard, his teammate. So just finding some of those guys that that have the chance to either spike in summer league and take advantage, because some guys spike in summer league and then all of a sudden once they have to match up with the superstars in the regular season, you get what you get. So just trying to take advantage of some of those. So I got a Bull Prism rookie. I think there was an Obi Toppin Prism rookie. I picked up like 4 or 5 of them, $2 a piece. I think that's a no-brainer. So that was some of the first pickups I bought. Then, like, as the show went on, it's like, okay, I want to go home with some bulk buys. So there was a table next to, and I'm going to kind of go off on a tangent here on pricing. And I've said this before, I don't mind. So if I see this Tinker, so if this is sitting in a showcase or on a table and it's not priced, I don't mind asking, how much is this? It's either a really good price that I'm going to buy, or it's a really high price that I have no interest, or if it's a price that it's a little high, I'm going to offer this. And that's how I approached. I bought a T205 Tinker, and I thought the price that I was quoted was a little high. I countered, and he accepted. There's some that the price is high, and I just walk away. It's fine. So when it comes to pricing, when it's that stuff, I don't care if it's not priced, because if it's something that's kind of rare on the pre-war side, I mean, if it's a Luka Prism, they're a dime a dozen. If it's, something like that, that was the first thing that came to mind, because there's all this pop report talk about Luka. So if it's something that's like there's one at every table, that's kind of annoying. But if it's still kind of a higher end card, I don't mind if it's not priced. I'll ask. It's kind of simple. Ask. It's either a good price or a bad price, or it's somewhere in between, and you can negotiate a little bit. What I don't like is a 4-row box of cards just mixed up. And there was so the table I bought the Prisms, and I think I bought the Bull from the booth I'm about to talk about. So there's a 3-row box, and I'm like, is there any certain price on these? Some of them weren't even penny sleeved, and that's a pet peeve of mine, because there were like Prism, like I think there was a Trae Young Prism Silver in there, without a penny sleeve. It wasn't a rookie, but it was second year. Like, oh, it varies, and then there's, well, we're gonna comp it, and it's like, that's what annoys me. It's like, you're gonna comp a Bull Prism rookie that's $2 or $3. So that's annoying for me. There was another, and then the booth next to him had $1 to $20 cards, and it just all mixed up. And and I don't think they were. I just saw. I don't think they were priced. It was just like they're all going to be more than $1 or less than $20. And I don't. It's like, okay. So I don't like the. If it's a small rare card, I don't mind if it's not priced. But if it's in a monster box and it's just they're all over the place, I'm going to probably walk away. So at this point, I went back because there were a lot of cards in this 3-row box that I liked, but I don't want to, I don't want to pull out a stack of cards and like, oh, well, this one comps it. I don't want to sit there for a half an hour as they're comping on eBay. Well, this one's $3. Well, this one's $7. This one's $12. So I'm going through, and I went through, and there were several cards that I liked, and I'm not going to do the comp game. So now my process in my mind is, I'm going to go through this whole box. I'm going to look and I'm going to kind of comp in my head what I think I can resell these cards inside the box. What's a good bulk price? So I go through and I look through, and it was a 3-row box. 2 rows were basketball. Then the last row was like Tops and Bowman, which I have plenty of. So I'm like, I'm just going to ask what the bulk price will be on the basketball in the 2 rows of the basketball. So I had a price in mind. I actually had a pretty wide price range in mind where, here's the floor that I would really like to pay, but it's highly unlikely that we'll get to that point. And then there's the high end where, if they start higher, I can get down to this high point, and that's and it was a wide range. So, I asked him, and he said, well, can you give me a few minutes just to kind of go through and see what I have in there, which is I totally get. Like, I don't want him to comp every single card in there, but I totally get, like, I would be, and I kind of know what I have in my bargain boxes, and I'll turn around because I had a similar conversation early in the show. So, that's fine. If you want to see, because you may not have looked in the box, you may have sold a few things. And he said, I don't want to start out too high, but I don't want to start out too low. Totally get it. Understand 100%. So I just kind of lingered around, and it was only a few minutes. It was perfect amount of time. He threw a number at me, which I thought was, that number that he threw at me was right in the range. And then he said, or best offer. And I'm like, okay. Because if he would have been firm on the number he gave me, I would have paid it, because it was actually on the lower end in my range. So I countered with a reasonable counter that was actually my floor. It was my, like, this is what I want to pay, but we're probably not going to get there because he's going to want too much. And he accepted, and boom. I thought it was a great deal. There's a lot of Prism rookies from the last couple of years, from the last 2 years. There was a lot of, lower end NBA hoops, prestige, some of that stuff. There was, like I said, Trae Young Prism Silver. There was a LeBron James Prism. There were some like low end autos. There were some cool relics, like sweater relics. I don't know what they came. Oh, I think it was the Christmas NBA hoops release they had last year. What else was in there? Was another high dollar card that was on the top. I can't remember, but so that was awesome. So and then John, who runs the show, had some dime $quarter boxes. Early in the show, I was going through those. He was set up right across from me. So, I just went through those boxes, had a stack. And then, at the end, I'm like, he had a dime box that were all rookies, basketball, football, baseball. And I'm like, what do you want for the whole box? It was a 3-row box. And he gave me a number. I thought that was, more than fair. So I picked up another 3-row box of rookies, of the 3 sports. So was very happy with the show overall. I didn't make many sales, but like the title says in this video, card shows are like a box of chocolates. Sorry, Forrest Gump. You never know what you're going to get. Like our shows, our June show, I thought was going to be a huge success. And it was, from a vendor. We had, 50 tables at our June show, and we had hardly anybody. And I say hardly anybody. It was the weakest attended show of our run so far. And it was raining. So it was raining all day. So it's not like people were enjoying the summer weather. So I was like shocked that we didn't have more people come through the door. And then our July show, I'm thinking it's going to be a bust. And we were down to, like, I think we had 30 tables at our July show the week before the National, and it was our highest attended show. So it's a crapshoot. You never know what you're going to get with a card show. So my sales were super weak, but my buys were super strong. And I also networked. I met some great vendors, was able to pass out my Madison Card Show card around, and maybe attract some some new vendors to one of our upcoming shows, or some of our upcoming multiple shows. Who knows? So I think overall it was a success. I didn't hit my mark of what I had hoped to make. It was actually the least amount of sales I've had at any card show since April, but I still think it was a success because the guys who run the show are awesome. So just, getting to talk to them throughout the day, talk card, the other vendors, very cool. And then again, the buys that I was able to pick up. So all in all, it was a successful day, and I had fun. So that's what it's about, right? Have fun. So I'm going to go back to the chat because I was on a ramble. Oh, and I'll turn back. I'll get to the chat, and then I want to turn back around to as a seller, selling a whole box. So because I had a conversation with somebody yesterday about buying one of my boxes. So Zach says, Porter and I stopped by a mall on a baseball card day, lunch adjacent to Southridge. There was a new collectible store in the mall that he saw with mom. We stopped. It was cool, but I was shocked at how sleazy the mall scene has become. I agree. We have in Madison, we have a West Side Mall and an East Side Mall, and there is always trouble. There is always like fights, and I mean, I haven't been to the mall in a long time. Malls have it's not the malls we grew up with in the 80s where we, spent the day at Sam Goody and then went to Aladdin's Castle and played video games for 3 hours. The mall has changed. It's not like the malls we grew up with. Zach says, I feel like a mall show would attract a lot of lookers and no buyers, which if you have bargain boxes, more people that could get in the way of people wanting to sit and sort. Yeah, that's kind of what my thought process was. Herman says, our boys were all about American Eagle and Hollister. My daughter is much easier. She's all about Target and Belk's. Yep, American Eagle. I was big on American Eagle in high school. I don't remember I think it was JCPenney. Like my mom would get the JCPenney catalogs, and they had a lot of sports stuff. So I think I was always like in like grade school, it was like JCPenney, and then when you get into high school, then it was like American Eagle. Aeropostale was big in high school, Abercrombie, and some of those. Zach says, I just realized that since I have transitioned to my work account, a new phone, I am Sans Wrench. Hope you still respect me even with my demotion. Oh, let's fix that. Let's see. There, you should have a wrench now. Zach has a wrench. So I go in, so I do my buying, bulk box buy. Earlier in the day, I had a similar situation, but this time I was on the other side. I was the seller, and I had a buyer come up, and the gentleman, I think he was looking for bargains, and much like I am. So he was looking at he was a non-sports collector. And he said there was a lot of cards in there that he was interested in. What would your price be on the box? And the non-sports is a pretty popular box. So this is a 4-row box, and it's full. So there's probably, and they're in penny sleeves. So what's that? So there's probably 2,500 cards in this box, and it's 25-cent box. And then I do bulk discounts. You buy a stack and it's 20 cents. And, if you buy a big stack, it's 15 or 17 cents. So I said, I would do $200, which is actually, I think, is a really good deal. That's 8 cents a card. And there's some really good stuff. There's a bunch of like 91 WCW cards that I actually looked on eBay last night, and some of those sell for $3-4, like the Ric Flair cards sell for like $3-4. So I may pull some of those if they're in there still. So I think 8 cents is a super deal. There's a lot of like 70s non-sports cards in there. Elvis, Kiss, Sgt. Pepper's. So, there's some good stuff. I think 8 cents a card is a really good deal. I was even willing to negotiate. And so I said, I do 200 for the whole box. That was my starting point. And he's like, oh, that's way out of my price range. And I said, well, I'm negotiable. Like, what, throw me a number. And he wouldn't even throw me a number. He goes, no, I think we're too far apart. It's like, okay. I mean, I probably would have taken $100 and that's 4 cents a card when I can like right now list 100 of them and make, more than that. I could pull out a stack and in the next week I could probably make that money. 100 out of 2,500 cards. So, I that's sometimes that's how it works. Throw me a number. I'm not going to be offended. And I hope people aren't offended as well. And that's on both sides. If the basketball box that I was looking at, if he told me 2,000, I might have laughed on the inside, but I'm not going to be offended. I would just, say, oh, no, thanks. And I would probably name my price because you never know. Sometimes you do know. Now I have to negotiate a lot during my day job. And sometimes I don't already. What's up, AF? I never like American Eagle. The clothes never seem to fit right. So, I have to negotiate a lot during my day job. And sometimes there's just no room for negotiation. And so for him, I can, I guess, we were way off and it wasn't worth, throwing out the price. So I get it. So AF says Ja Morant, Laviska Shenault, Shohei Ohtani, Hoist Gracie. So what's Hoist Gracie's? That was actually a conversation we had yesterday. A vendor next to me was talking about. There was a kid who was, I don't know how old. I have trouble with ages. 12, probably 11, 12 in that range. And they were talking about UFC, and the vendor says, have you ever heard of Hoist Gracie? And the kid said no. And he's like, oh my God, you've never heard of Hoist Gracie? And then so I had to chime in. I'm like, because that was like I was big into UFC, like the first couple, that came out. Tank Abbott, Hoist Gracie, Ken Shamrock. Who else was in that era? I love those UFC like 1 through 10. Those were awesome, awesome fights. 2009 round 1 tops, 53 wins, no loss. I've heard the market is starting to pick up on UFC cards. I have, and these are like Georges St. Pierre. One of my bulk buys, it's under the shelf. I think it's like 2014. Probably not much in there. Zach says, I negotiate all day with work, so I'm the same. In my personal love, I just want to name a price and be done. Vice versa. I lean more towards helping the seller as that is my day job. Yeah, for sure. That's kind of where I'm at. Like I hate negotiating because I have to do it from 9 to 5, 7 to 4 actually. So when it comes to cards, I just want to like, this is my price. I was actually, and I hate the counter offers on eBay because I just don't want to get into a 25 cents here, 25 cents here. It's like, this is my price. This is my price, and like, take it or leave it. So I was kind of in that with like a $3 Alex Bregman Topps rookie card. And like the offer was $1. I have $3 on it. I go to $2.50 and I'm like, you know what? I'll take 2 if he counters, and he counters at $1.25. And I'll do 2. Counters back at like $1.50. So it's just like, decline. I don't want to get into this back and forth counters. It annoys me. So I'm just done with it. John Bone Jones, 2009 Topps, Natalie Decker Donruss NASCAR. Zach, what entrance at Southridge is the card shop? So yeah, all in all, it was a fun day. My next show that I'll be set up at is my Madison show in 2 weeks, August 28th, Madison Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive in Madison, Wisconsin. I didn't have a chance. I just kind of let time get away this week in preparation for yesterday's show. Which I didn't mind because I haven't done this show in a couple months. So it wasn't like there was new traffic. So, I didn't feel like I had to, have completely fresh stock for diggers to look through. And I didn't have the diggers anyway, so I'm glad that I didn't spend time prepping for the show. But my next show, I think, people know that I'm there. I have a lot of repeat customers that love looking through the bargain boxes. So I'll make sure to freshen it up. I have some 71 tops, a whole box of them, kind of beaters that I'll be throwing in. Just some other stuff, the bulk buys. There's a lot of 25-cent cards in the bulk boxes that I bought yesterday and at the National. So I'll be, putting those in those boxes. I had a Griffey collector. I've unearthed some Griffies. So I made sure he asked me about them at like the June show. And then I forgot for the July show and he came back and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm sorry. So we'll have some fresh stock for the August 28th show. The big Wisconsin Dells 3-day show is next weekend. I am probably not going to go up there just because I spent 5 days at the National. I did yesterday in Rockford. My show is coming up in 2 weeks. And then the following weekend, I'll probably go down to the Spectacular one day in Chicago at Rosemont. So I figure that's and then the following weekend, September 10th, I have Club 400, Ryan Dempster, and Glendon Rush and Ray Burris, and then our show in September. So like all of my weekends are filling up. So I'll probably just take next weekend off. I really wanted to go to the Dell show, but coming off the National, it's just too soon. Too soon and too many other things going on. Herman loved watching Hoist Gracie when we were able to wear the karate gis. Christian Pulisic, Weston McKenzie, Tyler Adams. Soccer was big. There was a lot of people looking for soccer cards at the show yesterday. I was surprised by that. When you refresh, do you put all the new stuff together or mix it in? That's a great question, Ken. Typically, I will just there's not really a straight answer for what I do. Because usually it's kind of mixed in, but I try to put it at the front. But it's not really, it's not new stuff altogether, but it's not mixed in, if that makes any sense. It probably sounds ridiculous, but basically I'm going to try to explain this in a better way. So I have 16 total bargain boxes, I think, of the different sports. And, they're all separated by sport. So say I have 8 baseball boxes. I try to consolidate. So, if somebody like yesterday, there's no consolidating because I just didn't sell that much. Most of what I sold yesterday was dollar cards and the junk wax packs. So what I try to do is consolidate, and I try to do that at the show. Like at the end of the show, I'll consolidate, within the baseball boxes. And then that leaves room in like, say, one row for new stuff. So then when I, bring all the boxes back down into the basement, when I have a stack of baseball, it goes into that empty row. So essentially, they're put in. Sometimes I do some consolidating like at home. So it's not all, completely together, but I try to at least make an effort to put the new stuff at least in a stack on its own. So people, learn, because as a buyer myself, like if I go to my local card shop, and I pick out a pile from his, and he only has a few bargain boxes, but if I pick out a pile and it's like, oh, I just saw this last month, or, the last time I was here, it hasn't been refreshed, I'll just put it away and buy supplies or whatever, leave. But if I pull a stack out and I say, oh, this is fresh, I'm going to start looking through, if it's something I hadn't seen before. So I try to put it all together just so, people are, kind of aware that, oh, hey, this is new. This wasn't here last month. World Cup soccer coming next year. Jude Bellingham, Kylian Mbappe. Can you search your bargain box by newly listed? I like Quinn. I cannot talk. I like Kin's question. Say that 3 times. I like Kin's question. I'll try to make a more concerted effort because I do like, I do like that as a buyer myself, like, especially if it's, if it's the same vendor month after month, same stuff. And if you start going there month after month, and it's like, well, then you just stop going. Um, it's like, well, he hasn't updated his box, so I'm just not going to look anymore. So it's a great point. I'll need to be more aware. 2021 prospect Christopher Morel from my Chicago Cubs. That's what I was wondering, trying to keep folks from having to look through the same stuff. Absolutely. So that's what I had for today. I've got some eBay shipments to catch up on, and I've got some yard work. I've got to mow. I'm gonna make pickles. My garden is coming along, which usually by this time my garden's kind of dying off. But I was like 2 weeks later in planting, so it's still coming along. It's very slow though. I picked a ton of cucumbers like in the last 2 weeks, and now it's like, in years past, they just like they're like rabbits, reproducing like rabbits, but they just haven't been coming on. So my wife suggested, because she has a very she is very sensitive to smells, especially when it comes to vinegar, which is not good when her husband loves making pickles. So she suggested, there's a burner on my grill. So she suggested, and I said, well, it's a kind of a small, it's like a simmer burner. So it's going to take forever for a pot of water to boil. But it is a Sunday, and so I have some time. So I will make the pickles outside and try it out. So that's the plan for today. Mow and make pickles. So if she's sensitive to smells, never take her to the National. No, she would never, ever, ever go to the National. She's never even been to the card show that I run. So and we're what, April, May, June, July. We're 4 months in. She's 0 for 4. Dan says, oh yes, the Card Life is now on YouTube. So the latest episode of the Card Life, and I think Dan linked it here in the chat. So the episode that my project is featured on is now available on YouTube. The Card Life Wisconsin. My buddy Ripping One Handed is also in the show, Ryan Hack. And then the first episode's also available, the Arizona episode, because the third episode will begin airing this week on Bally Sports Networks. I think he talks with Terry Smith, who's behind Fleer Provision. Remember those from the early 90s? That was like the McGuire in front of the American flag. And there was some other, I mean, it was a great subset or insert set, whatever it was. It was awesome. So he's on there, and I can't remember who else, but I think that starts airing this week. Yeah, actually, Ken. So Ken tweeted that this morning. Well, I saw it this morning. So Ken broke the news that it was now available on YouTube. When I saw Ken's tweet this morning, I'm like, oh, what's this? And I clicked on it. I'm like, oh, hey, it's available on YouTube, because I've had a lot of people ask me. My mother-in-law also has YouTube TV. So I'm like, and we don't get Bally on YouTube TV. So a lot of people have been asking how they can watch it. And I said, it's going to be on YouTube eventually. So Ken broke the news. I also posted it on my Facebook page. So yeah. So Lisa Leslie Upper Deck Rookie. I think I might have one of those in my 25-cent box. I'll have to look. I'll have to look to see if I have that, because I think I do have a Lisa. Because when I was going through one of my boxes, I saw that and I'm like, oh, this might be worth a couple bucks, but I put it in the quarter box. So that's what I had for today. Long show. Thanks for tuning in. Great chat. Appreciate it. Have a great Sunday. I will probably be live tomorrow morning. Not sure. I might be live tomorrow morning. If not tomorrow, I'll be on Tuesday. So there better not be any Dale Earnhardt in the quarter boxes. There are not any Dale Earnhardt. Those are set aside. In fact, I think I have on my shelf next to me, I set like trade stuff. Ken, by the way, before I go, you mentioned Dale Earnhardt. Are you still looking for rediscovered Topps cards? Because I pulled a couple out, one or two I found in bargain boxes at the National that I pulled out because I thought you were looking for those. So I do have a couple of those if you're still looking for those. So I'll put those with Dale Earnhardt. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great Sunday. Ken says yes, awesome. Provision. Yep, that's right. Have a great day, and we'll maybe talk tomorrow.